Hey guys, and welcome back to another video for Alex's Flying Club. And here I am in a glider, and in the middle, looks like I'm in the middle of the Arizona desert here. And this is going to be my first video using Microsoft Flight Simulator X, also known as FSX. And I purchased this new simulator for me about a month ago, but I just purchased it on because I saw it was on sale on Amazon. But I've only just started to dig into some of the aircraft. So this is the glider that comes with FSX, also known as a Sailplane, I guess. I just wanted to do this quick video with this aircraft and two other ones, which I think are really fun stock aircraft that you get for free when you get FSX. And I know most people in the hobby, a lot of people frown upon freeware aircraft, and they only look to payware. And I guess I was one of those people up until recently, when I started thinking about time management and just kind of what I want to get out of the flight simulation hobby. So I'll talk about that a little bit more, but first let's get this glider into the air. Really simple to use. I haven't really gotten into the documentation for these aircraft that I'm going to show. Haven't really been following the checklists exactly, but yeah, it's really easy to get this one flying. So you have to press Control Shift Y, and that'll bring up this lovely little light aircraft. And in a few seconds here, he's gonna help us take off the ground. And we're in McGill Ultralight Field in Phoenix. This is our location. I've never been to this airfield, but it looks pretty cool out here on the outskirts of Phoenix. And you hear that classic glider sound, which tells you how quickly you're climbing or descending, depending on the noise. This indicates that we're climbing, obviously. And there's really nothing tricky about this, just have to make sure you don't get too far away from the airplane as it's carrying you up. If you do, the tow line will break, and then it's really not a big deal in the simulator. You can just keep flying, but there is a kosher way to let go of the tow line, and that's by pressing Shift Y. So I'm going to get up to maybe about 4,000 feet, then cut the tow rope, and I'll check back with you guys then. See you in a bit. Hey guys, I'm back, and we're coming up on 4,000 feet here. I'm going to let go of this tow rope pretty soon, and it's going to give us a little bit of a jolt, and we'll have to retrim our airplane, our sailplane here. So I'm going to hit Shift Y, and that should free us from the aircraft. So I'm going to adjust my trim. And again, I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it with these gliders, but yeah, I'm just kind of having fun with this aircraft here, just figuring things out on my own. I did notice that the optimal speed for distance gliding is 57 indicated. 57, I guess that's nautical miles or just maybe regular miles, I'm not sure. In any case, I'm gonna try to stay at 57. I'm just going to head out toward the outskirts of Phoenix. You can see Phoenix out in the distance over there. Those buildings. And there's a regular airport, probably one of the major ones in Phoenix. I'm not exactly sure what the name of that one is. And we took off from some fields. Right there you can kind of see the outlines of airstrips. So I have to retrim to make sure that I can that I'm neutral at about 57 miles, and then this thing will be cruising really nicely. You can stay aloft even just at 4,000 feet. This will last you for a good my guess at least 15 minutes. So I'm gonna cut forward a little bit once I'm closer to the city, and yeah, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I did want to mention a few things about the cockpit of this glider. You do have a lot of the similar instruments to a regular aircraft like a Cessna. You have your landing gear, which I forgot to raise after we took off, but I did raise it. Not really sure what that does to the gear, if it fully retracts it or not into the fuselage, but there is a control for that. There's also elevator trim and flaps, which again I'm not really sure at what levels I should be using that as. I just have it raised right now that we're in level flight, and you also have the speed brake lever, which is kind of nice for when you're landing so you don't overshoot the runway. And you have some other controls dealing with the ballast and stuff, which I'm not really versed in. Canopy, battery switch, and of course you have like just the basics in the on the dashboard here: the altimeter, the rate of climb, and airspeed right there. So we're pretty much right over the field, and all that distance that the light aircraft towed us to. It took us only about 500. We only lost about 500 feet to come back to our original destination, which is really nice. It's pretty cool, flying after flying like fighter jets that don't really have a good glide angle. This is really nice. This thing just wants to fly on its own, and of course it's a different experience because it's quiet and you don't have the noise of the engine. Gliding in general is kind of a fascinating thing. I've always wanted to try it. I've read that Neil Armstrong, is famous. Obviously, everybody knows Neil Armstrong, famous astronaut and aviator. He was in the Navy before going into the space program. After he retired, I read that he really liked to fly gliders, and he even said that it's the closest that humans can get to flying like a bird, which is true. You do have to look for thermal currents, which I'm not really able to find under these weather conditions. I have the weather set to pretty mild, so not really sure how to adjust that in Flight Simulator X, to optimize for gliding conditions. But really fun aircraft to fly. I'm just gonna enjoy this flight on my own here. Don't want to drag this video out really long. I'm gonna just fly around this little park golf course right here, and then I'll continue the video once I'm about to land this sucker, and hopefully that goes all well, because the last time I tried to land in this field I rushed it, and it did not end so well, but we'll see how it goes. See you in a bit. Alright, so I guess I'm just resigned to the fact that this video will be longer than I wanted to make it, because I did want to show you a few cool things about this aircraft. One of them is, check out the wing. The tip of the wing. You see how it's like adjusting to lift conditions? That's really cool. I'm not really even sure how that all works. Whether it's just kind of an optical illusion or whether it's actually moving on its own. No, it definitely looks like it's changing its shape. That was pretty awesome. Alright, let's land this thing. You can also do aerobatics. You don't want to stress it too much, because FSX does have a tendency to randomly say that your aircraft is overstressed. It's not quite random, but I should say unexpectedly say that your aircraft is overstressed. And of course, if you have the crashes and aircraft stress option on, which I do right now. Okay, so let's try and see how well we can use these spoilers. So I'm going to put full speed brake, and yeah, wow, you can lose quite a bit of energy. Okay, so let's retract that brake just a little bit, lower our landing gear, give us some flaps, and okay, more flaps. I want to make sure to make it over this ridge. That was my mistake last time. So I'm going to retract my speed brake. Okay, I'm going to put my speed brake on again, lower my flaps. Again, just guessing here in terms of proper procedure. Now, I don't really even know what speed I should be landing at here. But I'll do my best. It's all about having fun, right? At least in the simulator, it is. There we go. So I should have that speed brake fully on. I think we have brakes on this thing. Okay, there we go. Should have just hit the brakes. Okay, and let's raise our flaps. And what else do we need to do here? Tow release. We've already done that. Obviously no engine, so bam, turn the battery off. Alright guys, I want to show you a couple more planes, so I'll see you in Edmonton, Canada, in an ultralight trike. Hey guys, welcome back, and as you see, I've suited up into my motorcycle gear. Just kidding. And we're at Edmonton City Center Airport, which no longer operates, but it's here in FSX. This airport just closed down this year or last year, and pretty historic airport next to where I'm currently living, and I thought it might be a nice location for a flight in the AirCreation Trike. Let's get inside. Okay, very simple aircraft, just like the glider, but very fun. Usually this will be the first aircraft you see once you get FSX, when you load it up, and you may be tempted to just go on to a different aircraft like a Cessna or a jet, but try this aircraft out. It's really fun. And of course I am biased because this is the only ultralight aircraft I've actually flown in real life. Not the AirCreation Trike, but a different kind of trike. But it's similar enough, and I think FSX captures the feel of a trike pretty well. I was quite surprised because it's a different type of aircraft. It's a weight shift controlled, so you're literally changing the shape of the wing with how you move this bar over here, and that changes the distribution of the weight, i.e. you sitting in this little cabin here. And let's see if we can see the wing flexing. There we go. So yeah, it's a different theory of flight, and quite interesting to use. There's no rudder, so these pedals here are only for maneuvering on the ground. So let's take off with it here and do a quick circle around the city, and then land. Be kind of careful on takeoff. It has a tendency to swerve toward one side. Take off rotate at 35 miles per hour. Let you see what I mean there. And you want to climb out at 65 miles an hour. Very simple aircraft, nothing to do, no gear to raise, no flaps. Take your feet off the rudder pedals. Turn the volume down a bit. There's lovely Edmonton. This airport has a nice historical aviation museum, which I like visiting a lot, and I'm an occasional volunteer there myself. And as far as I know, that'll be the only kind of remnant of the airport. The rest of the property will be developed to some other kind of commercial or residential use. But hopefully, as far as I know right now, the airport will remain, the aviation museum will remain where it is right now, next to the airport. I did want to talk a bit about what I mentioned earlier in the video, just using non-payware aircraft. I used to be, when I first discovered civilian flight sims, it was all about the payware aircraft and the study simulation, figuring out all the systems, and then I realized, how much time do I really want to spend on this hobby? It's great in moderation, and I'd rather learn a few aircraft really in depth rather than just many aircraft not in depth, like on a superficial level. So I've kind of narrowed the list for myself, at least for the time being. I am going to move on to the 737 NGX, quite a ubiquitous aircraft, especially on YouTube, with flight sim hobbyists, and it's just a great add-on, and I couldn't resist getting it. I'll talk a little bit more about the kinds of options I was considering before I got the aircraft in a future video, but I realized that, I'll have the NGX, the DC-3s, the other one that I want to study well, and the F4U Corsair, and then maybe like a lighter GA aircraft, which I haven't settled on yet. But, I want to kind of, use a few aircraft for the study simulation side of it, and then have my other aircraft in the fleet just be for, having fun and flying around and not really having all the systems modeled. I'm fine with that now, but just fun aircraft to fly, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I was kind of mad at Coronado after I bought one or two of their add-ons because I thought, oh man, they're not really modeling all these systems, and I've been hearing great things about them, but they don't really make study simulations. But then, the more I think about it, the more I'm fine with it. I like to just, get in an aircraft and not have to run through a really long checklist to fly it. I can kind of see that side of the hobby now and value it too. Okay, we're going to make a quick pass along these golf courses here. There's no speed brake on this thing, so you have to be really careful when you descend, because its maneuvering speed is 59 miles an hour, but if you take it above like 85 or even sometimes 75, FSX says that you've destroyed your aircraft because you've overstressed it. So not a lot of margin for error, which I don't know. I don't know how realistic that part of it is. At least the Trike that I was flying, it was quite forgiving, and yeah, didn't get the sense that the margin of error was that small. Okay, this is the Edmonton's River Valley, and whenever I walk by it in real life, I thought it was always a whole lot of fun to just fly around this golf course in a Trike. Microsoft Flight Simulator allows you to do that. Of course, this will never be allowed in real life. Okay. You see what I mean? Well, yeah, I was having a little bit too much fun. Maybe it serves me right. Okay, as you saw in that previous video, I had a fail in this Trike, but it's okay. I'm going to leave it in the video because it's not really flattering, but it was true to life. That has happened to me a lot of times as I was flying this for the first time yesterday. But I did want to show you a landing in this thing, so I'm just taking off again under the same circumstances. I'm going to do a really sloppy approach here, or a sloppy circuit, and hopefully a decent approach. Because landing this thing is quite a challenge to land it really well on the center line. So you want to land at about 35 miles an hour. Touch down at 35 miles an hour. So I'm going to try to approach it at about 45. And I keep using my rudder pedals just because it's a force of habit, but they're going to do nothing for you, at least until your wheels touch down. So you have to get used to just using this little hang glider type bar. It's not that easy. You realize how much you rely on the rudder in regular aircraft when you're landing. Okay, so let's power down now as we get closer. Oh, That was rough. Oh well. That's good. The positive side of that is there's still much to learn and practice. Okay guys, gonna hit the brakes on this thing and pop out and see you in our next aircraft, which is already one of my favorites, and that is the Grumman Goose flying boat. And for that flight, I will see you on the runway of LaGuardia Airport in New York. And here we are in LaGuardia, and look at this lovely thing. I just love this aircraft. I've always had a thing for flying boats, and up until now I'd say the PBY Catalina has been my favorite, but there's just something about this thing which is just endearing, this Grumman Goose. Just look at how compact it is. It flies a lot better, I'd say, than the Catalina. It's more maneuverable, and I just love this livery for it too, with that Goose logo. Yeah, this thing is just quite awesome. Let's get inside. Alright, again, I haven't looked at a single checklist for this, but nice thing about it is if you've flown even a Cessna in FSX, or especially one of the twin-engine planes, or like a DC-3, most of these controls will be very familiar to you. At least the way it's modeled here, it's very simple. You have just standard instruments. You have your radio, navigation, autopilot panels right there. Throttle is up here with mixture, propeller trim, and carb heat right there. So very similar time period, very similar controls to the DC-3. And I haven't looked at the checklist, but just from prior experience, I'm guessing here for the proper procedure, I put the fuel pump on. And what else we got going? Tail wheel, we want locked takeoff. Flaps up. We're not going to do radio communication at this point. The lights are by the co-pilot. Nice thing about FSX, you just jump right to the co-pilot seat, which you couldn't do easily in FS9. Let's see if this will be easier to reach. Strobe light. Navigation light. Instrument lights. Not quite dark enough. Generators. Pitot heat. True light. Okay. Of course, you can save yourself the trouble and just hit Control 5. Sorry, Shift 5. Which will bring up this nice little panel. Okay, let's go back to the pilot seat. Alright. Let's wing it again. Take off. Sorry if I'm getting poor frame rates here. Not sure why. I do have fraps recording to an external drive, which usually helps. Right. Sloppy takeoff, but hey, it's okay, we're having fun. That's what this video is all about. Got the gear up. Of course, this thing can land on land or water, and I guess every airport that I've chosen for each plane has a little bit of significance for me, but for this particular aircraft, why I chose LaGuardia was because it was one of the main bases for Pan American Airways, at least from what I've read, and it used to have a seaport, like a place where the Pan American Clipper flying boats could waddle up to. Had a special terminal, the Marine Terminal, I think it was called, but now LaGuardia is mostly a land runway airport. But I chose to fly from it nonetheless, because I love New York, and because it's a historic airport. And because this, the Grumman Goose was actually designed because a group of New York millionaires wanted a flying yacht, which they can use to fly to places like Miami from Long Island. So that's the other reason I used this airport. Kind of a cool history. I like to, I do like to fantasize a bit when I'm flying some of these aircraft, and it's nice to imagine that you're rich and you've got this flying boat that can take you anywhere and you have all this freedom. It's one of the appeals of this aircraft for me. It is stormy outside. You see the lightning. I did not choose fair weather like for the other flights. I did choose stormy weather because I wanted to do a bit of challenge from when I was landing. And just looking at the scenery, it's quite better than FS9. Of course, this should be self-evident by this point. This game is old as it is, and I'm not doing a review of it or anything by any means. That's been done many times and quite long ago. But it's nice to discover this simulator for myself. I didn't want to rush in and just purchase all the latest stuff. That's why I got Flight Simulator 2004 first. And I will still continue to use it. I have add-ons for it, and I do like Flight Simulator 2004. But this is a nice addition to my simulation inventory. Alright guys, I'm gonna just do a quick circuit here and catch up with you when I'm ready to land. Okay, now we're a bit closer to LaGuardia. We're going to start our turn for base leg. And pretty much my goal with this video was to atone, I guess, for some of the comments I made suggesting that freeware aircraft and default aircraft may not be as good as payware aircraft. I think I might have mentioned in previous videos that I was really recommending payware aircraft, and I still do, but you know, something like this Grumman Goose, especially because I don't know of any good payware alternatives to this model, it's well worth flying. And you know, once you get FSX, maybe take some time and enjoy some of the default aircraft that comes with it, rather than rushing into purchasing payware. It's definitely a lot of fun. I did a flight in this Grumman Goose from LaGuardia to Richmond, Virginia yesterday. It's quite nice to practice. If you don't use the GPS and just use radio navigation, it's quite fun to practice that with this aircraft. I'd say it's a good trainer for a lot of different things. For tail dragger aircraft, it is a tail dragger. I'd say it's good for training two-engine, complex engine maintenance. It's good for training in seaplanes, flying boats. It's just kind of got it all, like all of those old school things that you can try out. If you don't use the GPS, I'm actually going to use just NDB navigation for my future flights. Because even once you get used to, and by the way, this landing is going to be terrible. This approach at least was really bad. But yeah, I'm just, even if you use VOR and DMEs, the flights do get kind of easy. So I'm actually going to try just NDB navigation and see, you know, what kind of challenge that can pose with an aircraft like this. So. Was a crosswind on this landing. Because I was talking, I didn't even factor that in, aside from what was necessary to correct my final approach course. Alright, so we're gonna raise the flaps. I didn't even do full flaps on that landing, I forgot. I did lower them to about halfway. I'm gonna... oh, don't wanna raise the gear. Please don't raise the gear. Okay, good. I accidentally hit that. I'm going to unlock the tail wheel, and as you can see, these tail draggers are a challenge to taxi. And ideally you'd have a throttle, differential throttle, so you can use differential throttle control to control your taxi, as I believe most of these double engine tail draggers did, but I'm using rudder and differential braking, which is, at least for the DC-3, is not the correct way. But it's easier if you only have a single throttle. Alright guys, I'm gonna leave you here with this view of New York. Put on the parking brake and run through a quick shutdown procedure, which I don't know if it's correct, but it's okay. Carb heat off. Control 5. No, Shift 5. avionics, battery, and all the lights. Should have turned off the lights first before the battery, but that is okay. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have FSX, hope it maybe inspired you to check out some of these aircraft you may have overlooked, and just wanted to share what I've been flying lately, and I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.